He goes by T-REV, so we'll call him that as well, and he joins us now. Thank you very much for coming with your splendid YOLO hat on. You only live once.
I count my blessings for the days when I was down and losing faith. They made me patient. All I can say is thank you. I really wouldn't be the same if I ain't gone through all the pain. Look what it made me. All I can say is thank you.
I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm just saying I've never seen it in paper that it was size 9, and I would love someone to send it in so we could go over it, because I've heard size 9 and seen it in chat, but I have yet to see it in one document on the document page. That's all I'm saying. If I overlooked it and somebody knows or has it bookmarked somewhere, let me know. I would love to look at it. What do you think about the questionnaire that he had put out? Do you think that he used tips from criminals?
Yeah, it sure seems possible, right? I mean, it almost seems like I don't think that those questions are definitely unusual, though. I think I was looking into it, and there might have been some evidence that in this criminology, or in this field of learning, that a questionnaire like this isn't necessarily like unique and out of the ordinary. Doesn't it make you think, is it the possibility that, okay, he's been thinking about doing something like this, but he's kept it at bay and is not going to do it just to get a taste of it? He would want to meet people that would answer questions like this, and the questionnaire and everything, living it out vicariously through other people, hearing about their experiences.
Question, Trev and Jeff, do you think BK stabbing his 4 victims, BK wouldn't he cut his hand and leave blood DNA on the floor, or victim? Thank you for bringing that back up. I've mentioned that plenty of times, and also thought, is it possible that he cut his hand and blood dripped and they have other DNA? I've thought about that. That's played in my mind also. What about you, Jeff?
I'm sure there were certain things that he had at the forefront of his mind, like don't do this, don't do that. And I'm sure on that checklist of things to do is like, do not cut yourself.
I still want to see that document where it says size 9, never once seen that, and I would love to see it. If it's out there, it needs to be seen. It needs to be seen so people can understand that. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by the ISP forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test and then amino black, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of the Vans type of shoe sole. Just outside of the door of DM's bedroom, located on the second floor. This is consistent with DM's statement regarding the suspect's path to travel. With those last leading words, it leads me to believe that they're thinking that's the suspect's footprint. Right. If you've noticed how they stated it at that last piece, this is consistent with DM's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. That wording leads me to believe they think this is the suspect's footprint. Was that ever ruled out after the fact? I don't know. But that's what makes me believe they're talking about the suspect's footprint.
I don't see anything about, in any of the searches I'm doing, about the size of this. I don't know where that even comes from.
Definitely not in the affidavit page 5. And like I said, it's leaning towards this adds up with the suspect's path of travel, which means to me, you're talking about the suspect. That's what I get from the lingo that's used in that. You Smell Jealous says size 9 shoe of a woman is usually taller, big bone frame. I can't find nothing with a shoe size 9 in it.
Hey, T-REV, great show. If it's Kohberger that did this, he had these girls thoroughly investigated, just like he's being investigated now. And it had to start way back when Maddie worked at didn't she work at the vegan restaurant, her and Dana, and somewhere that attraction picked up. And from the beginning of that time, he had time to follow them home. He had to know where they lived. He did a whole investigation, and going way back when all this first started, and I was watching it and hadn't seen it since. But Maddie or Kaylee won the night at the truck that this happened. I think it was think it was Maddie that got into it with somebody and flipped them off. Hadn't seen that since, but there was footage of it that very night, of where she was telling somebody off. It just seemed like, he messed with these girls long enough that he just got enough of something, and that very night he flipped out. And a lot would depend on, I believe, which I'm sure they've investigated it, when he bought that Dickies suit, and they did get receipts and stuff, believe, out of his apartment. So, it just goes way back. And I just believe the night he got ready to do it, he was all set up and ready and had been for some time. So it's just a thought. Anyway, this is Sherry. Thanks for sharing your number.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole connection with the restaurant is kind of an interesting thing to think about.
Mm-hmm.
The vegan aspect of Kohberger.
Is he confirmed vegan, though? Let's jump into that also. Is he a confirmed vegan?
I can't remember. There was a story of him demanding his parents get new pots and pans. If that's true, I mean, it paints okay, he's concerned about minuscule DNA. He's concerned about whatever residue is on a pot or pan that would be unacceptable for a vegan.
Hey, T-REV, this is Livy Live. So I have two thoughts about my own personal experiences. It was weird. I'm not sure what type of flooring they had inside the house. For whatever reason, I think they had maybe the fake hardwood floors. Well, I had a place that had the faux hardwood floors. For instance, my son had an accident. He had his hand cut open and blood was gushing everywhere all over the ground. 2 hours later, after the blood dried on the floor, I'm like, can you clean up the blood? And basically they swept up the blood into the dustpan. So the dry blood was able to be swept up off the ground, which was weird, but it was able to. When we're talking about vans, not sure if anybody goes into a van store. They have this product where, you can spray your shoes with this spray, and they do examples of pouring wine on your shoe. And basically the spray deters the liquid so it doesn't stain the shoe. And they show examples pouring ink or whatever. So I was thinking, what if he had something like that, where I know they had men's pants, dress pants, whatever, where it was made out of some substance where it doesn't get stained. If someone had wine, whatever, and or coffee, and it was spilled onto their dress pants, that it would just slide right off when it stained. So I'm wondering, maybe what if he sprayed himself down with this type of spray so that the blood wouldn't stick onto him, it would just slide right off whatever he was wearing. So therefore, he was able to leave the house with basically easy cleanup, just speed it up, and only the luminol after the fact that was be able to see that evidence of the trails maybe later on, maybe the latent shoe print. It didn't show it was basically wiped down with bleach or nothing, but maybe swept up. But you could still see the outline of the footprint. And then two is maybe he did have something like that spray or that type of clothing, which was made so that there was no stains to be able to stick on him.
It's almost like, you ever put Rain-X on your windshield? It's like a kind of a clear wax type stuff that you put on the windshield. And then when it rains, the moment the water hits, it just, as you're driving down the road, it just flies right off. It won't stick, even just the gravity will take the water droplets and they'll just slide right off. So, I mean, that'd be interesting if there was a receipt for some of that, whatever you'd spray on his clothing, any liquid would just kind of slide right off.
Size 9 footprint. I want to know where people are getting that. Are they measuring off of the latent footprint that's in the picture, or what? How are people doing that?
Yeah, I think anybody that's got that in their theory, that's in their head, okay, this is what's what. If you have the size 9 footprint, you should have a more of a receipt with it, or that should be like a bookmark on the top of your web browser. I couldn't find anything when I Googled it. I've heard it a bunch of times, but I couldn't find it. Also, the definition of latent, lying dormant or hidden until circumstances are suitable for development or manifestation, which applies to the footprint. I think it was invisible until they applied chemicals to the area, and then they could see that there was a footprint there. But I think before the chemical application, I think it was probably invisible to the eye.
I'm going to read a couple text messages. It says, "Hey, T, first I have to say much love and respect to you. Thank you. I appreciate that. What do you think about BK's alibi and they haven't revealed what it is? I think it's BS. I mean, if you were innocent, your alibi would be out there. I believe Ethan was in bed and Xana was in the room blocking the door from being open. One right here."
Hey, T-REV, it's Hollis. I emailed you a picture of a pair of long-sleeved male's Dickies. It's probably what he wore, and you can see what it looks like. It's very Michael Myers-ish. Okay, bye.
This is it right here. I got it pulled up on the screen. Thank you, Hollis, for sending this in. Do you think that he could have wore something similar to this?
Yeah, I would imagine so, right? Can you zoom in? It has no place for like a belt, right? You could wrap something around yourself, I guess. Yeah, I think my gut feeling has been that he wouldn't want the knife sheath on a belt, because then you get stuck like in one location and it's awkward to get the knife back into it. And plus two, a belt is something that somebody that's trying to fight you off could grab, could grab onto.
Yeah, but okay, so say there isn't, and let's go hypothetically, there's no DNA from the victims in his vehicle. So that would mean he would literally have to strip everything down, possibly wash anything off before he left, or have some gloves on and fold them out. Because did you take all that off, put it in a bag, get in your vehicle butt-ass naked and take off and burn that stuff, and have a pair of clothes ready in your passenger seat and change into that while you went?
True. Yeah, you could have an extra pair of clothing to change into. He just got to go not that far from the house, change his clothes. And
now you had something pulled up on the video footage that you sent me. 5 passes. I'd never noticed this, but you had it 407. Did he drive around at 407 behind the Queen Road apartments?
Yep. The last pass is 407, and he went around behind the apartments. And in my opinion, he's headed right for the back parking lot behind the house.
From when he came in, pulled out, backed out, and then went around, which would be the front side of the Queen Road apartments, there was another part where he came back down and went behind?
First, second, third, and fifth were identical routes around the building. It's only that fourth one where he didn't go around the building. He came and he turned around in that parking lot. But he sat there for 10 seconds. Was that to get something ready? Was he putting his mask on? I don't know what he was doing at that point.
Betting his DNA is all over the house. And Jennifer made that point. She said, and I thought it was a great point. Was there DNA in the house other than the knife sheath DNA? And I thought that was a fabulous point. They never said there was no other DNA in that house.
He goes by T-REV, so we'll call him that as well. And he joins us now.
People get killed for other stupid choices. Standing up for the families that took a loss is something that we find important. Rap game strong, chest up. Little homie, keep your head up. You can be whatever you want. Get rid of the fake and it will lead up. All my life I strive for greatness. I manifested my time with patience. People try to copy us, but respect is earned. It's not an obligation. I love the fam and they love me back, and that's why I always have the backs. I give a voice to those people who were never given a chance for them slimy cats. When you come here, you ain't a number to me. I really take time to read what I see. Don't forget to lock your doors, cause there's danger all up in these streets. Y'all really put life into the air that I breathe. I really am thankful for all of my peeps.